It is the 20th of the 8th, 2026. The time is 20 minutes to 9 British summer time. And that means only one thing, that there are a multitude of F1 centric threads at which we need to pull in particular today. One humongous topic on the docket, and that is Maximilian Verstappen's extension through to 2030. Oh, the humanity. I thought it was going to be Mercedes. 2027. Get rid of George, underperforming too much. But apparently Maximilian Verstappen has decided to stay. Now, some are saying that this decision was forced upon him, that indeed if he wanted to stay in F1, then there was no room any longer at the Mercedes Inn, nor was there room at the McLaren Inn. So where else was he going to go? To Scuderia Ferrari? No dice. Charles Leclerc had just extended. So Red Bull, sadly for Max Verstappen, at this moment in time, represented the only passage through to continuous F1 drive. I tell you what, this is techie chat. I don't know how I feel about it. Still, I'm just like, no, we've seized defeat from the jaws of victory. However, I think it's a little bit deeper than that. Imagine a world where Kimi Antonelli is a one-time champion, maybe two-time champion, and George Russell, again, being roundly underperformed. You'll remember that Toto said that he's not averse to putting Max Verstappen alongside Kimi Antonelli, but now's not the right time. Matter of when, not if. Some say over the next 20-25 minutes, I'm going to break down the reaction. We will listen to what Max Verstappen has put forth. So too Lauren Mekies, aka Splinter. We'll listen to the driver's press conference. So too George Russell had some things to say, and Lando Norris was asked to respond as well. Daniel, Jared, Baxty, Michael, Tyler, Frenchie. We'll get techie than techie things over the next 20 minutes. Let me show you this in the first instance. So it kicked off 8 a.m. this morning. Eric Van Haren said Max Verstappen will definitely stay with Red Bull Racing. Definitely. Four soon to be 5-time world champion signed a new contract this week. I mean, this feels like it was Salzburg, right? Do you remember when he flew over there and Charlie Mividra and Mateschitz and Mitzlaff, they were all there begging and pleading for Max Verstappen to sign a brand new contract to null and void his performance clauses. For the avoidance of doubt, the performance clauses stated that Max Verstappen could leave Red Bull were he not within the top two in the driver's standing. He is not in the driver's top two in the standing as of the summer break. Therefore, those performance clauses came online nicely in a timely fashion. There was a lot of rumour Mercedes. Why would he bloody stay? Red Bull have been rubbish. Okay, they're improving. But nobody's going to tell me that they've got the best ICE when Mercedes and Scuderia Ferrari are 80. Absolutely bloody not Red Bull. Probably the only team will allow Max Verstappen the freedom to race in other series. OG Zillary speaks to that. We'll go through the clips in a minute, I promise you. This is Eric Van Haren saying that the four-time champion signed a new contract this week. And again, sounds like the performance clauses in the immediate have gone away. The agreement has been upgraded, renegotiated and extended through 2030. Verstappen there, and this is the sentence that jumps off the page. These are the T's and C's, the implicit terms and conditions. Eric Van Haren, again, closer than most of the Verstappen circumstance, continues saying that Verstappen will therefore continue with Red Bull and will not exercise the exit clause, full stop or comma, this year. Mate, I'm telling you. Tell me that there aren't clauses, or that there are clauses in the contract for next year without telling me. You bet your bottom dollar this story is a moving target. I don't think it's going anywhere, chat. Let me see this. Again, it feels like a little bit of a celebration going into the last Zandvoort Dutch Grand Prix. That we get 4 more years of full send. 4 more years, presidential settings. Well, can Max really go full send in a Red Bull in this Viagra GP setting, rule and reg set? Can he really? Feels like he's got 2 things fighting against him, but I digress. Oh, and by the way, here we get another official Red Bull racing. They're trying to celebrate it, aren't they? 2030 with the MV3. Yeah, I get it. Build yourself a fudging car though, Red Bull, surely. They're getting better, chat. I understand it, but I'm left tireder than tired things. Here we go. This is what, you know, they already have the scrum, an individual one. This was Max Verstappen's today. Big news story, this. Some may say it's a seminal moment.
Like a second family for me, and
Here's what Max
of course,
Verstappen had to say.
I came
Let me
into
pull it back and we'll start from
like a
scratch.
second family for me, and of course, I came into this team hoping for being able to win races, and that we have won 4 titles together, plus of course working again towards that goal. Yeah, it's something that is of course very exciting, and yeah, that's why of course I feel at home here. I'm just very happy with the extension. I hope the team is as well. But no, I'm of course very happy, and yeah, hopefully we can just keep working together and try to get back to the top.
Blink twice, Max, if you're acting under duress. I swear, just that I don't buy it. I didn't think we'd ever be here. Chat, I don't know what to say. I'm lost for words. For once, it feels and looks like Max has made the decision. He's now giving it this family spiel that he never wanted to ever leave Red Bull. He's talking about during the presser, we'll see in a couple of seconds, that he always promised to Dietrich Mateschitz that he was never going to leave, that his goal, if he had his way, a genie in a lamp, was to stay at Red Bull forever, he says. Now it looks like he might be leaning towards that direction, but I don't think now's not the day to talk about Max to Mercedes, but I don't think we should rule it out. Mercedes are laying off workers after profits fell 50% last year. 100 million contract to Verstappen could have led to civil unrest in Germany. They're protesting Ola Kalinius at the moment, aren't they? Because he's lacking in sensitivity. And Mohammed bin Sulayem of a figure per se. Let me show you this though. This is where it gets techie, because Lauren Mekies had some things to say, but I'm not even going to play his same old PR, Red Bull levels of PR. Here's what Max Verstappen had to say during the press conference there.
You were unsure about your future earlier in the season. What's changed?
Well, it was mainly about actually continuing in Formula One. But yeah, the rules are slowly getting a bit better, and let's say I'm willing to live with it, and hopefully, by 2030 it opens up another opportunity, potentially with V8 engines coming in, to look again.
Okay, let's talk about Zhang.
His gripe in that answer sounds like it was more against the rules and regs than it was Red Bull's multitudinous ineptitudes. Lest we forget, they haven't been too fantastic this year, Red Bull. Okay, so they're getting better. It's not about where you are, but your line of travel. Some will say, however, I've seen Max Verstappen in the barriers more times than I would like to recall. The bloody Macarena wing hasn't worked. Fundamentally flawed in its design, some may say. So too, you talk about the fact that the car can't take curves, that they don't have the best chassis, nor do they have very good battery deployment. Where is the redeeming feature then? I bet Pierre Vacher and Enrico Balbo have made some very serious promises. They will have to they must have, otherwise why would Max Verstappen sign, unless is the theory that there were there were no other opportunities, no other rooms at the inn. I tell you what, Max Verstappen continues saying at the press conference that it was ultimately an easy decision, that he'd always wanted to see out his career at the Bulls that are red. Roll the clip.
Hope the summer was good to you. First though, can we talk about the big news of the day? 4 more years at Red Bull Racing. Congratulations. Was it an easy decision for you?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really too stressful. I think it was the right call. I feel really good within the team, and yeah, we have a lot of belief that we can let's say get back to the top in the coming years.
Hope the summer was good.
Let's hope so, Max. I just feel, oh gosh, what are we doing? We are gluttons for punishment. However, let me say this. Let me pitch this as a hypothesis, as a cheeky hypothetical. I remember once upon a time, Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, that they were due to fight, right? Well, it was meant to be like the fight of the century type thing. And Angelo Dundee, then Sugar Ray Leonard's trainer, would say, no, let's keep them away from each other. Let this bubble, it's the fight of the century. Let the public anticipate it, invest in the suspense of the thing, leverage the public's patience. I'm not sure, chat. You've heard me say a gazillion times that the biggest thing for F1 would be to see Max Verstappen in the car alongside Kimi Antonelli. The relationship needs no translation. It is a mentor-mentee, master-student. It makes perfect sense in 2027, I said. However, if you are invested in some long-term returns as versus short-term games, you might argue that if you can't have Max in the car in 2027 alongside Kimi Antonelli, that the payoff in 2028, potentially a two-time champion in Kimi Antonelli going up against, that's bigger now. That's humongous. That's more blockbuster. And again, for the avoidance of doubt, the choice is this. Put Kimi Antonelli in the car, one-time champion versus a four-time champion, or a two-time champion in Kimi Antonelli alongside a four-time champion in Max Verstappen. Which one sells more tickets? I think the latter. I think we can all agree, right? And Toto again has alluded to the fact that it's a matter of timing, that he's not averse to it, Max Verstappen in a Mercedes car. But he argues that now might be a season or two too soon for Kimi Antonelli just yet. Max continues. He was asked by Craig Slater, no other teams were interested. Weren't there any other conversations? No discussions or negotiations with, I don't know, the likes of Mercedes, the team principal with whom you holiday every single year, Toto Wolff, nor with Zak Brown's McLaren, to which Max Verstappen responded following.
No other teams. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, does it? Well, not to me, so.
Slater says there were no other teams. Max Verstappen says no, it doesn't even matter. He doesn't say no. He doesn't answer in a negative. True, say essential. Of course, there were conversations. Max's team, Raymond Vermeulen and Nostradamus, would be stupid not to have conversations because there is value in them. People are worth only what somebody else is prepared to pay for them. Max Verstappen continues talking about ambitions. How's he going to solve for this? What are Red Bull going to look like over the next couple of years? Roll the clip.
In your briefing earlier, you said you're more likely to retire than join another team. Can I take it never got to the stage where your management presented any firm offers from other teams to you? And going on from that, what about Red Bull senior management, the likes of Oliver Minchliff? What sort of role did they play in convincing you that they had the same ambitions for the team as the likes of, obviously, Helmut Marko had previously?
Yeah, well, it's just very open, transparent discussions. I get on very well with Laurent, Oliver, the shareholders in general. You know, they all, like, for me, this feels like one big family, you know, so I'm just very, you know, happy to be a part of that. And of course, over the last few months, you know, you talk about the team moving forward, the coming years, plans, ideas. So it's always been, communicated to me in a very open way. And that's what I like. And I like what they're trying to achieve. And that's why I also, you know, want to be part of it in the future.
I think the word that jumps off the page at me there is I like what they are trying, brackets, and failing to achieve of late. Here's hoping the likes of Pierre Vacher can prove all the naysayers wrong. He's been talking for the longest time about working in a way independent of the legend that is Adrian Newey. Well, let's see it now. The time for talk is gone. Erstwhile, let's go now, Pierre Vacher. Fix the fudging car. Max continues, use it leveraging a marriage analogy. He was asked, I mean, it looks like you're going to be, you've been with Max and Red Bull 15 years deep. That lasts more than most marriages today. 2026 settings. How does that even work? How is that a thing? To which Max Verstappen responds as follows.
Practicing for my own marriage. You know, just seeing how long I can eke that out in racing terms, and then try and triple that at least in marriage. Yeah. So no. I mean, I always said already back in the day when Dietrich was still alive, I said to him my goal and target would be, of course, to race for Red Bull forever. So we're on the good way.
Oh, Max, what are we doing here? Remy says, if he doesn't change the Mercedes now this year, the harder it's going to be to get hold of the team when he does. Yeah, no, I think that's a real that's a fact. But surely the Mercedes juice is worth the Mercedes squeeze, right? Particularly if they're as dominant this year or next year even as they are this. Lest we forget, I feel like they've got some tricks up their sleeves still that they haven't tapped into. Compression ratios, we're not hearing about that anymore. But everybody else has brought loads of upgrades, and Mercedes are saying that they're leveraging the advantage that they had at the start, that when they bring their next upgrades, expect anywhere between 0.2 and 0.3 advantage. That's what they're looking to grab on the rest of the field. I understand that Kimi Antonelli, it will be his team or George's if he starts and can keep winning championships. But nevertheless, I think Max Verstappen, like when he's had his Weetabix, is I think by dint of his performances will come his ability to craft the team in his image, just like Michael in the late 90s, early 2000s. George Russell was asked, mate, do you feel like you're the luckiest man in the world? Because surely you had to be worried for your Mercedes seat. Toto said he wasn't going to flirt outside the relationship and spent the next 3 years, as near as makes no difference, doing exactly that. Flirting outside the relationship, holidaying with Max Verstappen, extended negotiations over the course of the Miami Grand Prix weekend a couple of years back, talking about Max Verstappen ad nauseum, saying it would be fiduciary malfeasance if, as a team principal shareholder, come CEO, he didn't try and sign the best driver on the grid. George was asked this question. How do you feel now, mate? Do you feel relieved, George? To which George responded as follows. Roll the clear.
A long time. Just wonder, in your case, Lando, whether there was ever any realistic prospect of Max joining McLaren. There was some talks. And for you, George, was it ever an irritation, the constant narrative, which is over now, of Max to Mercedes?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Lando mentioned before about it's only really a topic for us when you're sat in front of you guys in the press and you want to ask these questions and understand what's going on. It was always very clear from within Mercedes what the reality was over these past couple of years. And, you know, maybe that those conversations were slightly more public than the conversations, you know, his team were having with the likes of McLaren or Ferrari or whoever else it may have been. So that's just the nature of the sport. Drivers talk with different teams talk with different drivers. Everyone has to just see what their cards are. But yeah, my seat never felt under threat, and I felt 100% security with Toto and the team, and that obviously now continues.
I bought into what George was saying until he said it was never in doubt. Just don't buy it. I don't buy it, George. Of course it was in doubt, chap. I understand that you signed yourself an extension, but F1 is a sport in which contracts are not worth the paper upon which they are written. Never has been ever. You heard Benson say that the conversation was still going on. You heard that Brooksy still thought Max would end up at Mercedes. I don't think they've got the outcome wrong necessarily, just the timing of it. Lando Norris was asked a similar question. Weren't you fearful, mate, when Max Verstappen, it was mooted that he could come to your team and supersede one Oscar Piastri? To which Lando Norris responded as follows.
What was the question?
Do you ever give much thought to him joining McLaren? Because there were talks, we heard about that. Yeah.
I never heard much more than what you guys did. So, I mean, I welcome anyone to be my teammate. Of course, a guy who's won as many world championships as he has, a guy who, is as talented as him, would always be cool to have as a teammate one day. But I know Oscar's my teammate for quite a while yet, so I know nothing's changing.
Interesting. Lando now very secure, knowing that Max Verstappen's not going to be joining McLaren. I tell you what, chap, I feel like we need to fast forward. I'm keen to fast forward 12 months and see where we are. Who's champion? Is it Kimi Antonelli or is it George Russell? Because that might determine a lot, right? If Kimi Antonelli nobbles George Russell to the tune of 60 or 70 points, then you have your decision made, right? straight away. Of course, if you can sign Max Verstappen because he's still struggling in an RB23 that's not fit for purpose, that's nowhere near commensurate with Max's insubstantial skills behind the wheel of an F1 car. I tell you where as well this gets techie, the bloody lineup as we round third base. Red Bulls, buds, Lawson, Tsunoda, sweaty palm time. I mean, they have themselves a couple of races potentially to prove themselves, to get back in Red Bull's graces. Tsunoda, Sam, probably not. But Liam Lawson, it had been talked about Solov, again, superseding Liam Lawson potentially next year, notwithstanding Lawson, this being his best season by a gazillion miles. But some say that Red Bull are just a junior program, that if they see talent, they will use it and promote it. That was how they operated under Dr. Helmut Marko. And there is no different. They are no different in that sense, at least. Now, Solov potentially. I think he'll get the seat next year, even though Liam Lawson's been really, really good. Woody's career gets an extension to bed. He's still number two at Mercedes. I don't disagree with that, Daniel. I think the adoptive son, Kimi Antonelli, has the whip hand over there at the boys and girls from Brackley and Brits, if I really do. How is that still a question, Cameron? How is what still a question, Sir John? I hope Kimmy's going to be a WDC. If not, then let it be loose. I don't hate that, Stanley. Of the key protagonists being Kimmy, George, and Lewis this season, given where their cars are, I think Kimmy's probably. I mean, he's a big odds-on favourite, right? We can all pick favourites, but I don't hate it. Although some smart money is still on George. Can't be as bad in the second half as he was in the first, surely, or as unlucky, if we're being precise with language. Truth be the matter, number one, or no one wants Max as a teammate. He's too good. Alan, would you want Max Verstappen as a team? Why? Life is hard enough, right? Let alone Formula One. Why would you want to make it more difficult than necessary? No. There's no way that I'd do everything in my power to stop Max Verstappen becoming my teammate were I an F1 driver and aspiring for a line of least resistance type life. Absolutely not. I actually wanted Max to come to McLaren so people can see it wouldn't be what I'd expect. ECG, you think Lando would fare well against Max? I think Lando might fare better against Max than many anticipate, but I mean, 2025 told you all you need to know, eh? I think Lando's quite he's quite sensitive to the handling dynamics of the car. So that's what you saw early on when he didn't have his suspension and suspension geometry to suit, when the car was an understeer merchant. That's when Oscar Piastri came into play, right? Mr. Smooth, Jenson Button styly, George Russell styly. That's when he worked. But when the suspension and suspension geometry started to favour suit Lando Norris, then like holy smoke! It's Zachko. We put the picture up, mate. I promise you, it was. It's a big deal. This, I feel like it's quite a seminal moment in Formula One. Lawson V-carb 2 times in 2025 at Imola. As much as they might like him. Oh, it's a day. It is a day, chat. Max Verstappen extends to 2030. With performance clauses on the proviso that Red Bull can provide them with a car capable of winning races and championship. That's the big exam question, though. And I'm not sure, if I'm being honest, that they can do it. I'm not sure if past his prologue, variables will need to change. Vache will need to step up. So too will Enrico Balbe. Balbe? What is wrong with me? Enrico Balboa, Rocky settings, Enrico Balbo. They'll both need to step up and nail it, because otherwise, bet your bottom dollar, this time next year we'll be having the same conversation, at which point Maximilian Verstappen then will have his pick of the litter. We'll be getting techie things back tomorrow for FP2 sprint qualifying, sprint race qualifying, and the race proper on Sunday. You guys have been legends. I appreciate each and every single one of you to the moon and back between now and next time. May all your sectors purple.